Obviously, we have issue 1 happening in August, and that's part of a huge reason why we need our voters to get out to vote on August 8th for issue 1 is to stop this November ballot initiative. But the November ballot initiative goes so far beyond what most Ohioans are okay with. Even Ohioans that would call themselves pro-choice, it goes way further than what they could even imagine. So could you just kind of walk through a little bit what's at stake on November if we don't win in August?
Well, in the November ballot, what they're going to put in the Constitution is, first of all, this abortion language. But the second piece, and this is what really concerns me, I guess, as a parent in the state of Ohio, is, we have 5 children. My youngest is Mary Hannah, and she's in 6th grade this next year. For her to have aspirin dispensed to her at school, I have to send her a note as her parent. This proposed language says the state shall not interfere in any individual's reproductive decisions. And so an individual is Mary Hannah, even though she's only in 6th grade. And so this constitutional amendment would apply to her, and she would be able to get contraceptives from the school nurse without me even knowing about it. So without any sort of parental notification, and certainly without parental consent, because the Constitution will say that she gets to make all of her own decisions on this. And so that is I think, absolutely terrible. I mean, you're having children make these decisions at only under the influence of counselors and doctors, and not mom and dad. I mean, that is awful. And then the second piece, you think about my son, Tate. He's a freshman in high school. Under this constitutional amendment, he theoretically could be counseled by a school counselor and then referred to a doctor for a gender transition surgery. And they could give him drugs that would, change his gender permanently, and he would be sterilized permanently without any permission from mom and dad, without any notification from mom and dad. And here's the thing: as a father, I would be prohibited under the Ohio Constitution from being involved with that or being able to stop it. And so all of a sudden here, you've really transferred the power to the doctors, into the counselors, and these other people that are going to be making decisions for your child, or helping your child, I guess, make these decisions, and cutting out mom and dad. And it's going to have a dramatic effect on what parents are allowed to do in the state. And it's going to be very significant and very damaging.
Yeah, and just like you said, I mean, their goal is to cut parents completely out of the picture, and we've seen it all the way from the president. The president's office, they put out a video on Twitter where they were very clearly saying that your kids aren't just your kids, they're all of our kids. They belong to us, the government, not you as a parent. And so what do you say to some of the media that's been calling us liars, saying that no, that's not what this amendment would do, you're just completely misreading what the amendment says, it's obviously just going to give a common sense abortion amendment to Ohioans? How do you combat that narrative that they're trying to push onto us?
I think this is 100% about the transgender movement in the United States. If they get this language into the Ohio Constitution, they are expected to spend this much money and more in 11 other states if they're able to get it passed in Ohio. And so it's going to come to, it's going to run all the way across the country. And this language, I mean, you don't have to be a legal scholar to read it and understand what it does. It says the state shall not interfere. In other words, the state shall make no rule for any individual's reproductive decisions. That clearly is including, choosing what gender you are. That's a reproductive choice. So under the law, or under the definition, legally. And so just a plain reading of this constitutional amendment yields that conclusion. I think, obviously they want to say that it doesn't do that because that's Ohio voters don't want that in their Ohio Constitution. And they don't believe that. And they don't want that for their own families. You're taking away the ability for parents to be there for a child, and regardless of where you are on transgender issues or transgender surgeries. I've never heard anybody suggest that parents should be cut out of the equation and should be prohibited from having control over this whole process. So that's what I would say about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's so clear that parents obviously should have a say in what's happening in their kids' lives, and they should be able to protect their children from irreversible damage and harm, which is obviously what I would say abortion and transgender surgery is it's irreversible damage that'll be done to children who undergo these surgeries or get abortions. Parents have a right and also a duty to protect their children from that. And so for the state to come in and try to overstep and completely cut them out of the picture, it's just so far beyond what any Ohioan is okay with and comfortable with.